Good morning, all of you, once again. I welcome you all for AICT IST sponsored election program on business intelligence and big data analytics. It's my privilege to introduce today's resource person, Dr. R.B.V. Subramanian Sir, Professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, National Institute of Technology, Warangal. Sir has completed his MTech in IIT Kharagpur and PhD from IIT Kharagpur. His area of interest are data mining, association rule mining, temporal data mining, sequential pattern mining, big data analytics, distributed data mining, graph databases, fuzzy data mining. Sir has various is member in various professional bodies like senior member in IEEE and associated member from IEI. Sir, area of interest are machine learning, pattern recognition, algorithms, high performance computing, soft computing, outlier analysis. Sir has published 25 papers in international journals and 13 from various national conferences. Sir has acted as supervisor for various PhD scholars and Sir has organized different workshops and conferences. He acted as organizing chair for various international and national conferences. He is a member and organizing committee for various conferences too. Sir acted as a reviewer for IEEE transactions on fuzzy systems, information sciences elsewhere, Journal of Information Knowledge Management World Scientific Journal, and reviewer for some international level conferences. Sir has organized 40 refresher courses and workshops, and he has attended various training programs such as TPs, workshops, and conferences. And his services to professional bodies. He is acted as Joint Honorable Secretary for IEI Warangal Local Center from 2010 to 12 and Honorable Secretary for the Institution of Engineers India for session 2012 to 14. And Sir has visited various countries and Sir has acted as a principal investigator and co-investigator for various projects. We welcome you, Sir.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for the introduction. Introducing me to the gathering. It is business intelligence and big data analytics. Fine. I congratulate Dilip Kumar Reddy and the Department of Computer Science Engineering in particular, and in general, SV Engineering College, Sri Venkateswara Engineering College, Tirupati, for getting this FDP sanctioned by the federal. Yeah, they have been organizing many workshops, even they have organized with us. We are Electronics and ICT Academy set up at NIT Warangal. We have a huge fund. However, we charge 750 rupees per candidate for 40-hour FDP, and minimum is 50 people. If anybody is interested, they can come forward and use this opportunity up to March 2022. Only 3.5 months are left over. Hence, you can come forward to organize the FDPs of any of your choice in the areas of computer science engineering, electronics communication engineering, outcome-based education, and allied courses involving ICT. Okay, fine. Here the topics are well connected with very focused motivation that you'd like to analyze big data and use it for the business so that you will be performing business intelligence. Hence, how you can put intelligence in the business processes after extracting such an intelligence by analyzing big data. That is the high level problem which is to be addressed in several directions. Hence, you cannot address just as it is a single problem, it is not the single approach. There are several perceptions, and there may be several ways that you can contribute this high level objective of achieving profits from the business by doing it intelligently. That's the goal. Fine. Yeah. Well designed topic heading. And I am asked to deliver a lecture for 3 sessions. That is nearly 4.5 hours. I'll be taking today 3.5 hours, tomorrow 1 hour. This session will be up to 1:15 or 1:20. So, because we started 10 minutes late. Fine. What I will be now, I am given the topics that I should introduce big data and how do we, what are some ways of storing big data, processing it so that you analyze to some extent the big data using some of the algorithms, but for which we start training the mind in that direction. And subsequently, I hope the other lectures are planned, which will be the ML algorithms, which will be useful for the analytics, and then how to, what are the topics that can be covered into the BI using several other tools and so on and so forth. Fine. Yeah. The very word big data needs to be understood well. Since what is big data? What are the issues with big data? Why big data is important? How it will be different from the non-big data? This we have to understand it first, and then the rest of the things follows. Of course, we tend to learn 12 years back. This was quite new in India, maybe 12 to 13, 12 years back. But now it has been the curriculum course in many of the colleges. And some of you perhaps have some knowledge or some idea about this big data. Can someone come forward to tell what is their understanding of the big data? What do you mean by big data? So that from there I will start it. Let it be interactive manner. Anyone? In your opinion, what is big data? How do you define big data? Anyone?
Sir, good morning, Raghav garu. Sir, up to my knowledge, big data means there are large volumes of data have been stored somewhere.
Okay.
I think.
Hence, large volume of big data. Fine. Large. Hello? Yeah, are you continuing? Go ahead.
Big
No,
data
come
means
close to the mic. You are somewhere away. 1 kilometer away from the mic. Speak loudly.
Sir, can I
Yeah.
go ahead?
Yeah, please.
Big data means which will describes about the large and hard to manage volumes of data. We can handle both structured as well as unstructured data.
Means it is structured and unstructured.
And it also used for analyzing for insights for improving the decision makings.
That is fine. Useful. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Anyone else? Because it is big data, no, there will be several ways of looking at it. And just I want to know what is the understanding of the gathering. Then I will give my own view. Yeah, Purnima gave her view of that. It covers both structured and unstructured. And earlier Koteswar Rao told that it is a large volume of data.
వేరే ప్లగిన్ ఏమైనా ఉందో చూస్తే
అది ఉండాలి అక్కడే మిర్రర్
అవతల వాళ్ళకి క్లియర్ ఉంటుంది.
ఉంటుంది మనకు కూడా మిర్రర్ వ్యూ. That's all. Okay, fine. You can see the large volume. How large? How much large is called big data? Suppose is there any demarcation that beyond this it is big data, otherwise it is non-big data? We have structured data which we are storing in the databases. We have unstructured data that is available in the XML, in the web pages. We have so many text processing in NLP. These are all unstructured only. But we have been handling this NLP data, unstructured data earlier. And we are very much familiar with the structured data. Sometimes we may keep it in the relational data model. Hence, structured and unstructured both are not new. And every data will have volume. Hence, our database, in principle, can hold any amount of voluminous data. And we have designed algorithms that are handling high volumes. Highly scalable algorithms are there. And particularly, you will be discussing BI, more focused on the data stored in the warehouses. And data warehouse is an architecture specifically meant for holding large volumes of data, particularly the data which is non-volatile, that is mostly historical data, which need not undergo the insertion, deletion, modification operations. If data requires this insertion, deletion, and update operations, you can't store in the warehouse. You have to store in the databases only. That I hope you have the clarity between the warehouse and the database. Because if you have these operations important to put it on the operational data, data needs to be normalized. Otherwise, the problems with the redundancy, particularly insertion anomaly, deletion anomaly, update anomalies come forward. That's why we can't store this operational data requiring those three operations in the warehouse. I hope anyway the person who will be handling warehouse will be telling it. Hence, we have both several database models and warehouse architectures to hold the large volume of data. Therefore, how I will understand what is big data, what is non-big data? From these three words, I don't think that any understanding will come. Yeah. Now, what do you say? Those two people, Purnima and Koteswar Rao, what is your comments? Purnima, you have now structured data, no? Structured data, are you able to store in general databases? Purnima, are you listening? Hello? Fine.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, it is usually stored in tabular form, sir. In SQL, sir.
You can store, no? Structured
Yeah,
data.
the structured
Yeah.
data is stored in SQL, sir.
Right. In relations, okay? In SQL
Yes.
table, fine. SQL, fine. In relations, you can store it. Then how come it be big data? Then everything, whatever you are handling through databases, is it big data then? And unstructured data, you said. We have text, no? Text mining is there, text retrieval, information retrieval from the text, NLP problems. There all we see the text, no? That is unstructured only. And in that, and again, semi-structured data we have. All these things, how come we understand from that? Can you say that structured data is big data? Even unstructured is big data. How students will understand what is big data and what is non-big data?
They generally used for analyzing.
Yeah,
And we can
everything for analyzing only. See, why we keep data? We don't want to store it like our treasure, is it not? It is for analyzing only. Otherwise, why we keep data? Data is always we use it. We analyze it, maybe by querying or by automatic analytic tools are there. In data mining, we analyze. Machine learning, we learn from the data. It is only for analysis.
Hello, excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Dr. Swami Allen, sir.
Yeah, please.
Sir, you take unstructured data from the different sources, sir, websites, etc., e-commerce applications,
Okay.
and then clean the data.
Okay.
So, because of larger volume and larger velocity is there, sir, and also dimensions are more in unstructured data. So, after cleaning the data using pre-processing, then we store it in the data warehouses.
Okay.
Then we use the data for the data analytics, sir.
Okay. Then where is now big data?
Big data means large volume of data from different sources. Then we reduce to some cleaner data, sir. Clean it to reduce data and store it for the analytic purpose.
For others' purpose, let me put whatever you have told. If
Yes,
I'm not putting rightly, you can always correct me. Hence, what Dr. Allen Swami is telling. Generally, unstructured data is collected from various sources, and it is cleaned, stored in data warehouse. Okay. Hence, where from you got, what you are doing before storing it in the warehouse, finally it has reached the warehouse. The moment it reaches the warehouse, data in the data warehouse, you would like to call it as big data. Is that you want?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Hence, according to Allen Swami, data in the data warehouse is big data. According to Purnima, the structured data which you are storing in the databases is big data. Hence, these two we have been handling. Data warehouses are there last 25 years. And at least in India, we have the concept. And this databases, it is there nearly 50 years. Nearly 50 years. Hence, we have this big data for many days, and we know the techniques how we can with which we can handle the big data, so-called big data, whatever you are telling, the data in the data warehouse, data in the databases. Hence, we need not study as a separate course. Hence, data warehousing covers, according to Allen Swami, the unstructured data. Database course is covering structured data. And both are meant for holding large volumes of data. Then nowhere big data has come, and we need not study anything other than these two courses. In studying data warehousing and databases, is it equivalent to studying big data? Okay. And you have brought another concept called velocity. Now, data has velocity. Now, what do you mean by this? Either Dr. Ellen Swami or someone else can tell, what do you understand that data has some velocity? Anyone can tell. How do you,
Amount of data that is generated at any point of time, like Facebook data or people that are viewing videos or anything that basically
hence
that is being generated over a time.
the rate at which data is generated. That is what you want to tell? Swapna?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. The rate at which the data generates. Yes, we understand that nowadays data is generating, no? Like every minute some person, some baby is joining on this earth. Similarly, at every second, the data is now what I am talking now, it is going now through this. This is also data. Hence, every moment, data is getting generated. Hence, we know that for every, earlier we used to say for every 2 years, the data will be doubled. I hope 2.5 years. And now also it holds good. Hence, almost whatever the amount of data available now will be doubled in 2 years, 2.5 years. Maybe now it is at the even higher pace, we don't know. Hence, anyway, the data always generates. What is an issue? You can't stop this populating the data. Data gets generated. Any issue with the velocity? Why we bother about velocity? We can stop it. Okay, data is getting generated. No issue. Where is the issue with velocity? How do you know? How do you justify? Velocity is an issue to be considered, and how do you want to handle it? Okay. See, these are the two issues with always the students and teachers. Or
Good
in
morning, sir.
general. Yeah.
Good morning,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah,
Sir, good
please.
afternoon. Sorry. This is Kamakshi, sir.
Yeah, Kamakshama, yeah, tell me.
Yes, sir. Velocity indicates how fast data is generating, sir. How fast
That's what, how fast
data.
what and all both are same. How fast? Fastness is velocity. It's speed at which data is generated. At
Yes,
what
sir.
rate it is getting generated. All are same equivalent words.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Yeah, the problem is, suppose if I sit before TV and watching some thing where they will say Sukhi Bhava, this, that, some medical programs. Whatever they say, the symptoms, we feel that all those symptoms are there for us. Is it not? That is one feeling what we'll have. Hence we worry, oh, he's telling that symptom, already I am suffering from that symptom. Then we worry that I may be having the same disease. This is general perception of any human being. That's why we should not look at sometimes. We are afraid of. And similarly, whatever we say on the board for the teacher, and students or the audience think that, yeah, these are all we know anyway, nothing is new in this. This is another understanding that every listener will have. Hence, what is required for you as a teacher is, first of all, you have to see the understanding of the topic, the students. And we should correct them. If they have the understanding, some misunderstanding, we have to correct it. And then a proper understanding should be given, because misunderstanding is wrong. Mistaught is wrong. Mistaught is better than untaught. Okay, this we should be very careful. That's why I have started all these issues. Hence, each one of you, what you have understanding, if I don't say what is problem with your understanding, that will remain forever. And whatever I am telling, it will not go and properly sit there, because this what you have acquired on your own, it is very difficult to remove it unless you know that it is wrong. Now whatever I am putting will not go and sit unless I remove it, because whatever I am giving, that requires some space. That's why I am attacking. Hence none of you should opt for this. Hence whatever I am telling, just I am trying to see how much depth you have, what is your understanding of the volume, velocity, and these may be the issues, but why should we consider them? What is the issue with that? Hence, any problem arising because of that, these are all we have to understand. Then only we address them. If something is not problem, we need not bother about it. Suppose monkeys are not problem, we need not bother about monkeys. Tigers are not problem, we need not bother about tigers. Is it not like that? Anything, if they are not causing any problem, we need not bother. If they are causing problem, we have to understand what is the problem that they are causing and how to address them. That's the issue. Fine? Yeah. Now, anyone else would like to talk? And then I will enter into my way of introducing big data. Yeah. Even I was like you, around 2010 or so. Then we thought of introducing this big data course here. Then both myself and my friend, both of us, we thought, okay, let us study and let both of us together offer this course. Then I started understanding big data. Before opening anything, any content on the big data, I myself thought that suppose if chance is given to me, how I can define big data. Okay, something is big. It means beyond that it is big. When we say a person is big, okay, beyond this age is big. Hence I thought that as far as the volume is concerned, there may be something, some demarcation. If we cross that, it is big, otherwise it is non-big. With that expectation, I have opened the content. To my surprise, no one said that there is something beyond which it is called big data. They simply said that data having volume, velocity, variety, these are called big data. This is the everywhere. Whatever I open, it is simply telling V, triple V. Okay. Then I understood what is this. Every data will have volume. How you say data having volume is big data? Every data has volume. And every data may not have velocity. Data having velocity means, see, there are two things. You are all in Tirupati. Data in a pond, no, in Pushkarani, in a tank, is that data, is that water has some velocity? No, it is static water. Water is static, it is not going away, it is not moving, it is there. Hence, if you want to test it or if you want to do something, yeah, it is just there. You need not bother about that water. It is not going away, it will be there only. Okay. What do you mean by data having velocity? Recently, floods have come to Tirupati. No? Yeah, the data was flowing, water was flowing. When water was flowing, yeah, the water has some velocity, is going away. Hence, data has velocity means data flows. Data flows means these are generally, we use the word data streams, like water streams. We have data streams, data flows. Yeah, you would have seen advertisements in junctions. If you stand at Tirupati bus stand, there may be one advertisement where something is written. That word is there. You can stand before it. You can read any number of times and try to understand that advertisement. There's another kind of advertisement where you will see maybe near railway station or some junctions, the data goes on flows. Hence, there will be some window through which the data flows. Letters are going. Maybe some Chandra Brothers advertisement is going, or some advertisement is going on, or some information about trains are going. Hence, data is flowing. Hence, what is the issue with this data? Hence, data having velocity means data is going with some speed, going. It's not the question of generate. Yeah, somewhere it is generating, somewhere it is going, we don't know. When I have to analyze, it is before me only for some amount of time. Afterwards, it goes away. Water in Swarnamukhi, water in Krishna, it goes, flows. Hence, my problem here, why it is an issue, what is the problem with data having velocity, data don't have velocity? Data don't have velocity means data is not going away, data is available. You can design an algorithm which may perform any number of iterations, and then slowly you can analyze it. Hence, the analysis, what you want to do, that algorithm can take any number of iterations. Whereas here, if algorithm requires so many iterations, data won't stay. Data is going away. It won't wait for you. Hence, you have very limited amount of time. You can see. Afterwards, now in other 5 minutes, it's going away. And sometimes now when we see the advertisement, the letters are going. Suppose I give the work. Next 5 minutes you read and tell me what is that advertisement is about. Then you are somehow your mind knows the algorithm. You are combining the words that is coming. Finally, you will understand. Sir, this advertisement about so and so. Hence, the problem here is very limited amount of time it is before you, within which you have to analyze. Whereas here you have ample time. Your algorithm can perform iterations. Here you can't perform maximum 1 iteration or maximum 2 iterations. Second time you can see. But if you want to see 5 times, you want to read the front and front, it will not be there. Meantime, it is going away. Hence, problem with the data having velocity, your algorithms require less number of parsers, less number of iterations. The algorithm should be single parse or 2 parse kind of algorithm. Hence, designing algorithms for data streams is tough compared to static databases. For the reason data is going away. That's what we mean by data having velocity. Some vehicle is going, vehicle is velocity. It is going away. Hence, suddenly, another 2 minutes, the train is going away. Afterwards, the train will not be there. Whereas something, if it is kept there, it is not going away. It is there only. That's all. You can see any number of times. That's the problem. Okay. But again, the problem is we have data stream mining. Separate courses there. Means we have developed already the methods how to handle data streams, data moving with velocity. Hence, velocity is not new one. It is my old friend only. Because I have been doing research in this domain, I know we have designed these data stream mining algorithms. And data having volume is not an issue for me. We have been discussing, of course, as volume increases, my algorithm performance will go down. Always we try to improve and design highly scalable algorithms for handling voluminous. And variety, yes, whatever data you design, generally you are not designing just for one kind. Even in your database class, second year BTech, you are not designing a table just for holding one kind of data. You have character data, you have date data, you have integer, all kinds of things. Hence, various kinds of data we put it even after all in a table, in a relation. Hence, variety of data. In fact, we can handle so many kinds with the dot of extensions, dot JPG, dot this AVI, this, that. No, there are so many dot. Afterwards, it indicates in what format they are. Hence, we have methods to store variety types of data in any storage and handle it. Hence, therefore, individually, each of these volume, velocity, variety, I thought that these are all old terms. How come now, as if suddenly now only this big data has come, they are telling that the data having these three characteristics is called big data. That's how I understood. I thought whether I'm misunderstanding it, because the whole world is able to understand from these three V's. Why I am, I think my mind is dull head. I'm unable to understand from this. What is wrong with me? Why I am unable to understand? Is it because I have handled each of these and I know these three for the long time? I am unable to digest how these three together forming big data. Then I thought that I should do some kind of research in this, where from this big data word has come, how to understand big data, that I could not properly. Then where is the question of I go and deliver to the class? I was struggling like that. Then suddenly there was an invitation from Bangalore CDAC. We had to go there because my friend said that we are all good in big data. They want to train their own people. That was very initial stages. Big data was introduced in various institutes. Then they said that, okay, I thought that I'm still trying to understand. When they don't know anything, okay, I thought whatever understanding I can give, with that some understanding, I went there. When I went there, there are other speakers also. And one or two from industry, they added some more V's. Value, veracity. Now I came to know at present there are 16 V's or even more. Hence now these V's are not just stopped, it's going on. Hence from this, what you will understand? Do you want to say, if data has first V, second V, third V, all the V's should it be there? Hence therefore, when 12 years back only 3 V's, that was big data. When other 2 V's are added, if these 2 V's are not there, means that earlier big data won't become today big data. All 16 should be there, or at least how many should be there out of 16? At least 10 should be there. What is that? And even if you think that it has volume, how much volume? How much velocity? What is the very meaning of variety? Value. Is there any valueless data we do? Veracity. Ambiguity, is there anything? Sometimes it may be not non-ambiguous data. Where is the question of veracity comes? Hence, all these together could not give me any sakshatkara of big data. Big data, I could not feel of it. That was my status. Now I am still thinking now the people before me, that's why I am asking, if someone has A good understanding of big data you want to know. Yeah. Any discussion? Having said this, all of you please seriously listen, because I am giving very clearly now what is the problem with this is, and then how we have to start, how newly you can look at big data, that I will tell you. Okay. Meantime, this is my way of putting these V's. If someone disagree with me, no sir, what you are telling is something, no, we disagree. This is the true meaning. You are unnecessarily giving wrong meaning for this. I'm ready to take it. Now, at least now one question. The two people who were talking about velocity. Now, have you understood what they mean by velocity of data? The two people who were talking velocity of the data. One, I think, three people were talking. In fact, Kamachi was talking. In fact, Ellen Swami brought this velocity into discussion, and one more lady was there. She was also talking about velocity, the rate at which the data generates. Fine. Okay. Any discussion required? Fine. Okay. Then I thought that I should not waste time on these V's, because this V, maybe others are able to understand. I am unable to understand some of this. Then I should have my own way of understanding big data. Then I entered into the roots. Who has coined this big data? Why this word big data has come? Then I thought, let me have my own understanding. Okay. Okay. Then I found the roots are in distributed systems. You might have studied at least one of these courses, either distributed systems, distributed databases, distributed operating system, distributed computing. Okay, like this, there are some courses starting with the word distributed. See, what do you mean by distributed systems? When do we say a system is distributed system? Can someone tell? What do you mean by distributed system? Can you define distributed system? Anyone studied distributed databases, distributed OS, distributed computing, distributed system? I think these topics are there in curriculum. No, unless you talk now, I don't know how much I should teach. Someone should speak. See, whatever you understand, you tell me. You need not feel of it. Whether anyone knows about distributed system? Or in distributed databases, what we study? In what way distributed databases design is different from ordinary design? Have you studied distributed OS? You have studied conventional OS, operating system course, distributed operating systems, distributed operating system. What is the difference that you have seen? Similarly, what are distributed computing approaches? Whether anyone studied cloud computing? Hello? Shobha Rani? Yeah.
Sir.
Yeah. You want to tell something?
Good morning, sir.
Yeah. You want to tell something?
Sir, distributed systems, these are also known as distributed computing, sir. And also the distributed database, all the three are one and the same, sir.
Oh, all are one and the same. Okay.
Almost same, sir. Distributed system, it's a collection of independent components which are located on different machines. And this will be sharing information or messages with each other to achieve achieve whatever is required by the user.
Okay. What is computer network? What you have said is the definition of computer network. It is interconnection of computers where something flows, something can be flown from one system to the other system. How to flow and when to flow, no, there are protocols. Computer network allows, is it not? Yes, what you said is these computing devices which are all connected, which will help them to share the information, whatever you are telling. Yeah, that is there in computer network only. ఇప్పుడు అందరిలో ఆత్మ ఉన్నట్టు మీరు అన్ని సబ్జెక్టులు ఒకటే అనుకునేస్తున్నారు.
Sir, but here the distributed systems, multiple autonomous computers in a computer network will be transparent to the user, sir. And here the operating system will be automatically allocating jobs to processors.
Okay. Okay. What do you mean by transparent?
That is moving files among various computers without explicit user intervention.
Hence, transparent to the user means visible to the user, non-visible to the user.
Not like that, sir.
అదమ్మా ట్రాన్స్పరెంట్ టు యూజర్ అన్నారు కదా మీరు వర్డ్.
Sir.
ట్రాన్స్పరెంట్ అంటే ఏంటి? యూజర్ కనిపిస్తుందనా కనపడదనా ట్రాన్స్పరెంట్ అంటే?
అంటే here the files among various computers.
అవన్నీ వేరే సంగతి. ముందు మనకి ట్రాన్స్పరెంట్ యూజర్ అన్నావు. కంప్యూటర్ నెట్వర్క్ లో ఇప్పుడు కంప్యూటర్స్ ఆర్ దేర్, దే ఆర్ ఆల్ ట్రాన్స్పరెంట్ టు ద యూజర్ అన్నారు కదా అండర్లైన్. ట్రాన్స్పరెంట్ అంటే కనిపిస్తున్నా కనబడదనా?
షేరింగ్ కెన్ బి డన్ అమంగ్ ద డిఫరెంట్ నోడ్స్.
షేరింగ్ జరుగుతోంది. ట్రాన్స్పరెంట్ అంటే ఏంటి? నేను తిరుపతి దగ్గరే మాది తెలుగు మీడియం చదువుకున్నాను. నాకు ఎప్పుడు ఇంగ్లీష్ వర్డ్స్ మహా న్యూసెన్స్ అనిపించారు. శుభ్రంగా తెలుగు మీడియం ఉంటే బాగుంటుంది. ఈ ట్రాన్స్పరెంట్ గా ఉండాలంటాము. ఏంది ఈ గవర్నమెంట్ ఏం లాభం లేదండి, ట్రాన్స్పరెంట్ గా లేదు, ఏందో జరుగుతుందంటే ఏం తెలియట్లేదు, ట్రాన్స్పరెంట్ గా లేదంట. ట్రాన్స్పరెంట్ గా యూజర్ అంటే ఏంటి? కనిపిస్తుందనా కనబడదనా? కదా చూసాం, మనం పదాలు వాడేస్తుంటాం. ట్రాన్స్పరెంట్ అంటే ఏమిటని స్టూడెంట్ లేదు కూర్చున్నాడు అనుకో, మనం ఎక్కువ ట్రాన్స్పరెంట్ ద యూజర్ అంటే యూజర్ కనబడాలని కదా మీరు పాయింట్. కనబడదని ట్రాన్స్పరెంట్ ముందు వర్డ్ కి అర్థం వాడికి తెలియాలి. సొసైటీలో ట్రాన్స్పరెంట్ గా ఉండాలన్నాడు. అక్కడ సెంటర్ లో గంగమ్మ గుడి దగ్గర గొడవ చేస్తుంటారు. ట్రాన్స్పరెంట్ అంటే కనబడకూడదు అని చెప్తాం మనం కంప్యూటర్ సైన్స్.
సార్ అక్కడ సిస్టమ్స్ కనెక్టివిటీలో ఉన్నప్పుడు ఎవ్రీ సిస్టమ్ కి దాని ఓన్ ఆపరేటింగ్ సిస్టమ్ ఉంటుంది సార్, అది ట్రాన్స్పరెన్సీ.
ట్రాన్స్పరెన్సీ అంటే అర్థం కాదు కదా. ట్రాన్స్పరెన్సీ అంటే మనం మామూలుగా సొసైటీలో మీ ఇంట్లో మాట్లాడుకునే భాష. ట్రాన్స్పరెంట్ కనబడాలని కదా. కానీ కంప్యూటర్ సైన్స్ లోకి వచ్చేసరికి కనబడకూడదు అని రాస్తాం. కాబట్టి ఎట్లా కంప్యూటర్ సైన్స్ క్లాస్ లోకి వస్తే ఒక అర్థం, బయట సొసైటీలో ఉంటుంది ఇంకో అర్థం. ఇది కూడా ఒక ప్రాబ్లం నాకు ఒకప్పుడు, ఈ ట్రాన్స్పరెంట్ వర్డ్. ట్రాన్స్పరెన్సీ అంటే డిగ్రీ ఆఫ్ ట్రాన్స్పరెన్సీ మారుతుందన్నమాట. కాబట్టి మనం ఒకటి వేస్తాము, కొంతమంది ఇప్పుడు డ్రెస్ వేసుకుంటారు రాజకీయ నాయకులు, కొంతమంది తెల్ల షర్ట్ ఉంటుంది, లోపల బనీన్ కూడా కనిపిస్తుంది. ట్రాన్స్పరెన్సీ కొంతవరకు కనిపిస్తుంది. అసలు పూర్తి కనపడేది ఇప్పుడు ఏదైనా డేరా లాంటి గుడ్డు ఉంటుంది, ఆ కొంచెం వరకు కట్టన వేసి ఉంటాం, కొద్దిగా ఎక్కువ ట్రాన్స్పరెంట్ గా ఉంటుంది అంటే బాగా కనిపిస్తుంది. తక్కువ ట్రాన్స్పరెంట్ కాబట్టి ట్రాన్స్పరెన్సీ అంటే దాంట్లో డిగ్రీ ఆఫ్ అంటే కొంచెం ఆపేస్తోంది. ఏదైనా సరే ముందు ఆ కట్టన అంతా తీసేస్తే శుభ్రంగా కనిపిస్తుంటుంది ఆ ఇంట్లో ఉండే కిటికీలో. కాబట్టి ట్రాన్స్పరెన్సీ అనేది ఒక కంట్రోల్ చేస్తాం, అంటే కనపడకుండా ఉండడం కోసమే చేస్తున్నాం. కానీ దాన్ని ఎందుకో మనం సొసైటీలో అలా వాడేస్తున్నాం. ట్రాన్స్పరెన్సీ ఎక్కడ కూడా మాట్లాడాల్సిన అర్థం ఏంటంటే, when we say something is transparent means it is not visible. The first point. Transparent, not visible, ante clear. Inga dantlo discussion em ledhu. But not visible. Emiti not visible? Migration transparency. Ante oka daggara nunchi inko దగ్గరికి మూవ్ అవుతూ ఉంటుంది, అది ఎవరికి తెలియదు. లొకేషన్ ట్రాన్స్పరెన్సీ, ఎక్కడుందో అనే విషయం తెలియదు. ఇప్పుడు ఒక ఫైల్ ఎక్కడుందో క్లౌడ్ లో మీరు పెట్టేశారు, ఎక్కడుంది అది? మెడ్రాస్ లో ఉందా, అమెరికాలో ఉందా, న్యూయార్క్ లో ఉందా? ఎక్కడుంటే నీకెందుకు అడిగినప్పుడు నేను ఇస్తున్నా కదా అంటాడు గూగుల్ వాడు. కాబట్టి మీ మెయిల్స్ అంతా ఎక్కడున్నాయో మీకే తెలియదు. కాబట్టి లొకేషన్ ట్రాన్స్పరెన్సీ. వాడికి ఇది చెన్నైలో వర్షాలు పడ్డాయంటే వాడు ఇదంతా తీసుకెళ్ళి ఇంకో దగ్గర మైగ్రేట్ చేసేసి ఉంటాడు. ఎక్కడి నుంచి ఎక్కడికి పోతున్నాయి నా మెయిల్స్ నాకు చెప్పండు అంటే మీకు ఏం చెప్పడు వాడు. మైగ్రేషన్ ట్రాన్స్పరెన్సీ. మైగ్రేషన్ ఎట్టి ఎక్కడికి మైగ్రేట్ అవుతుందో మీకు తెలియదు. ఇలాంటివన్నీ తెలియవు. ట్రాన్స్పరెన్సీ అంటే తెలియకుండా పెట్టడం, హైడింగ్. ఓకే, ట్రాన్స్పరెంట్ అంటే ఏంటంటే హైడింగ్ అని చెప్పి అంతే సింపుల్. బయట ఏమంటే బయట ఇంగ్లీష్ వాళ్ళతో మాకు సంబంధం లేదా. ట్రాన్స్పరెన్సీ అంటే హైడింగ్. మైగ్రేషన్ ఎలా జరుగుతుందో మీకు తెలియాల్సిన అవసరం ఉంటుంది. లొకేషన్ మీకు తెలియాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు. ఇవన్నీ పెట్టుకుంటాం సరే, ఇవన్నీ ఏమి అట్లా క్లారిటీ ఉండాలి, బలగొద్దాలి. టీచర్ అంటే సంబంధం లేదు. కంప్యూటర్ నెట్వర్క్ మీన్స్ you will take computers, you will interconnect them. Hence interconnection of autonomous computers. Autonomous ante enti? They are independent. Autonomous ante మీరు నిద్ర లేయడం, నిద్రపోవడం అంతా మీ ఇష్టం, ఎవరు ఏం లేపరు. అదే మీ ఇంట్లో ఉన్నప్పుడు మీరు డిపెండెంట్. మీ మదర్ ఉదయం 5 గంటలు లేపండి అదే. ఇప్పుడు అట్లా అక్కర్లేదు, మీరు మ్యారేజ్ అయిపోయింది, మీ ఇష్టం. 9కి లేయచ్చు, 10కి లేయచ్చు. అట్లా అటానమస్ కంప్యూటర్స్ ఎప్పుడు డౌన్ అవుతుంది, ఎప్పుడు ఆన్ అవుతుంది అంతా దాని ఇష్టమే. స్లేవ్ కాదు ఇది. there's nothing master slave కాకుండా ఉండదు అటానమస్ కంప్యూటర్స్. వాటి అట్లాగే ఓన్ రిసోర్సెస్ అంతా ఉంటాయి. మీరు చెప్పినట్టు ప్రతి ఫర్ ఎవ్రీ సిస్టమ్ ఇట్ విల్ హ్యావ్ ఇట్స్ ఓన్ ఓఎస్ అండ్ ఇట్ హ్యాస్ ఇట్స్ ఓన్ memory and everything. It is capable. If I give some task, it can perform. Okay, that is the thing. That is only computer network. Hence interconnection of autonomous computers is computer network. Okay, now when we will go for a distributed system, what do you mean by centralized system? Distributed, centralized. Hence, have you seen centralized system? Yeah, your any system which you are working with standalone system, it may be a standalone server or desktop, or for example your laptop. These are all systems which are not connected. That server, that system, that computer, that laptop can execute a job. Hence, if you give, you take a laptop or a desktop and you give some work, that is, you load a program and data, the program will process the data and job will be completed. This is centralized system. Hence now this centralized system, what is the issue with centralized system? Why should we go for a distributed system? Why should I go for distributed system? I'm happy with centralized system. Why should I go for centralized from centralized to distributed? What is the problem with centralized system? Because you will, okay, you purchase one desktop or laptop, then you will load data and program. First 2 years it's working fine. Afterwards, slowly it is not performing up to your satisfaction. Then you will ask your EC department, a friend, what to do with this. They will say that add RAM. Okay, you will add RAM, you will add some storage. Okay, something you are adding some resources because they are given that it is scalable. Hence, you scale up. What we are doing, adding some resources like RAM, storage, these are all what you are doing now. Scale up. You scale up. Whenever you scale up, it will perform well for another 2-3 months. Okay, you scale up some storage, then you can store more data. But after some time, the storage is also not sufficient for you. You will add RAM, it will perform fast. But later on, again, it will run slow. Hence, after some time, your EC friend will say, no more scale up possible. Throw this away, purchase a new one, better configured system, big one. Okay, you will purchase another system. Again, you will take bank loan and again you will purchase a bigger system, high configured system. Then story repeats. For 2 years it will work, again you will scale up, again you will throw this away, again you purchase bigger one. Hence there is no end for this. This is the problem with the centralized system, because after some time the data what you want to store is has no place. The system has no place. You can't store that data. Therefore, you are going for the bigger system. The programs you have are unable to run in this. Therefore, this system alone cannot run all the programs what you are giving on the whole data. Hence, you are going for bigger system. They thought that this kind of simply purchasing, working for this and then throwing away is not good, is not viable, can't recommend for the business. From the economics point of view, it is not good. Hence, what else we can do without throwing away? Then they designed distributed system. What they want to tell? Okay, you have one system. You have one system, and it has got full. Or today it is performing well. Okay, if I add something, tomorrow it will not perform. Okay, knowing that I should not add beyond some point, but still I have data. So far what I used to throw this away and purchase bigger one. Now people are recommending don't throw away. You have already kept some data, let it be there, but you have some more data. You take another system which your friend is throwing away, connect these two and put the remaining data in this. And some data you have put here, some other data, remaining data you put in this. Suppose this is also full, you take yet another computer and put it here. Since you can go on add some systems. Of course, everything has a limitation. Okay, you can add some systems. Whenever something is full, you can go for, suppose if 5 systems are not sufficient, you go for 10 systems. Then your data is distributed. Your programs are distributed. Who is distributing? Are you distributing? You are taking a computer network, interconnection of computers. On top of it, you want to load some operating system called distributed operating system. Hence, generally, what operating system in this it is working, how this OS is working in centralized system. OS will take our programs, okay, it will execute with the available resources. What resources are it is using? It is using memory, and therefore memory management should be known to OS. We are giving process, and those process threads and all process management, and we are giving files, therefore file management. It has to deal with IO, it has IO management. Hence, in OS, you have studied all these things: process management, memory management, file management, IO management. These are all how to manage resources in one system is known to OS. Hence, distributed OS means distributed OS is now managing. That is, this conventional OS is managing resources in one system. This distributed OS is managing resources in several systems. But sir, you said each is autonomous. Yeah. But once they are under the control of distributed OS, some sort of autonomy goes. Hence now, this OS knows how much memory that it is given here for the general purpose, that is sharing purpose. Hence, how much shared memory is there, and shared memory management. Hence, that is what we call distributed shared memory, we'll say. This shared memory, distributed shared memory. Hence, there will be separate memory which is shared by all. Distributed shared memory means some memory which is distributed among all the systems. Okay. Hence, if you go to bus stand, in bus stand that is public property. Everyone can go and sit. So there is a park. Everyone can go and sit in those benches. Railway station, you can go and sit. That is a shared memory, public place. Okay, everyone can use it. Whereas someone cannot directly come and sit in sofa of your hall. Therefore, your furniture, something in your house, it is private property. It is your property. No one else can come and share it. Okay. Hence, suppose in your premises, some corner part, if you say this is a shared purpose, then everyone can come and suppose you throw something here, the others can come and take it. Suppose you say here there is a mango tree. This is private property. No one should take these mangoes from your private property. But if you declare this corner there is another mango tree, this mango tree is for public purpose, means everyone can take this. You put a refrigerator here. This refrigerator is public purpose. Public purpose means you can put one milk packet here, others can take away that milk packet. This means some memory you have given for others. Like that, each house has some memory which is meant for all others to use. Hence, this memory is a shared memory, but this memory is at one place like everything available in railway station, bus stop, or parks. No, this shared memory is available at one place. Everyone goes to there and then use it. Whereas this shared memory is distributed. Hence, in each system, there is some amount of memory which is given for sharing purpose. Hence, shared memory is distributed. Shared memory available on microprocessors. You will say there will be a lot of processes with a shared memory. Means memory block is at one place. The microprocessors are all connected to that memory which is available at one place. Hence, everyone can go and access that memory. That's why it is shared memory. But shared memory is available at one place. Where the shared memory is distributed, means it is there in this system, it is there in that system, everywhere. That is distributed shared. Okay, fine. Now, this distributed OS, he has the responsibility of managing the resources, permitted resources in all these systems. And we give programs and data. Hence distributed OS will take the data, it will distribute. Distributed OS take programs, it will distribute. Hence distributed OS will execute the programs by distributing them, distribute the data, given data is distributed. Hence that's how distributed OS is taking the responsibility of executing these programs on data by distributing them on the task. దీనే మీరు కొంతవరకు చెప్పారు, చాలా వరకు చెప్పారు, కానీ ఒక కలిపి చెప్తున్నాం. ఓకే, నౌ whereas OS is executing the program and data without any distribution they are doing on this single system resources, whatever. That is the only difference here. Now, how distributed OS knows how it distributes the data, how it distributes the programs, how OS knows that, okay, the programs means, suppose there are programs A, B, C, D, like this I will give. Now how it knows, because it's all put together is a big program, there is sub-programs A, B, C, D. How it knows A should be given here, B should be given here, D here and C here. And suppose A output and B output both should go to C, and from C it should come to D. Then how it will, OS will give instruction. Oh, you are a mission executing program A. After you complete it, you hand over to so and so mission. And similarly, B also should hand over to C, and you should instruct C. Don't start unless you get from both these missions about the outcome from A, B. Then only you have to store like this. Hence, all these instructions should be written in a program. Only if it is written in the program, how data also should be distributed. Everything you have to write in your program. And that program will help distributed OS to distribute these programs and give necessary instructions to these missions. And all then distributed OS is seeing that all these computers are cooperatively, competitively, they are executing the jobs that what we give. Okay, and in true spirit, some job may be given at one system, that though we give here, we are not giving here. This is only I am writing, but generally we give to a system. Hence, when I am sitting and giving my job in one of the system, which is a member in the distributed OS, the job what I am giving here is something I am giving to distributed OS. Hence, this job is not going to be executed only by this system. It will go into the hands of distributed OS, and then it will distribute it. We thought that, okay, what I am giving here, therefore maybe this our system only giving answer. No, the moment I give it, it is taken by the distributed OS. It will distribute to all others. Therefore, all others are also working for my job. And therefore, many others are helping my job to complete. It will be completed at fast, and answer will get it. Then we think, yeah, this system is very fast. It is giving solution. Though I gave problem here, I am getting solution here. But it is not done by this system alone. It is done by several systems. Why several systems are helping this? This is a member in the distributed OS. Suppose you are a member in a club, in a society. Hence, if your work, many others will come and share. Quickly your work will be completed. Suppose you are not a member in any club, you only have to prepare everything. That's the difference between single system, centralized system, and distributed system. Okay, this is the problem. Therefore, don't you think that running the jobs on distributed system is fast? Is advantageous because you can get your work done quickly, because it's not just one system, there are several systems are involved in executing the jobs. Hence, there is high chance that your job will be completed quickly. Therefore, we have advantages of getting jobs completed. If you go to distributed system, I have been telling several systems are involved, whereas here only one system is doing. Okay, that is that is the thing. Hence, if you go to hotel, there are many cooks. Hence, therefore, if you order all the 4 items, 4 different cooks are preparing. All will come onto the table quickly, all the dishes. Whereas at our house, no, only our mother has to prepare one by one, or that lady in the house has to prepare one by one. Therefore, it takes time. Single system. Yes, this is advantage between when you involve many systems and single system. Therefore, when it is advantageous for the distributed OS, people should go to distributed OS only. We can say goodbye to single system. Always we should go for distributed systems. That's one thing. And there is one more advantage. I have already told. Maybe it is there in your mind also. Can you tell what is that? In fact, it's not only advantage, it is the reason why you are forced to go to distributed OS. You are forced to go to distributed OS. What is that? That is one way advantage. Another way, that is the reason why we go for distributed OS. We move away from centralized to distributed OS. I have already told that, but not highlighting, but I have told. Can you figure out, other than getting your job quickly, suppose you say, I don't want my job quickly, sir, let slowly it happens. Why should I go to distributed voice? I want to be in the conventional system. But this is the second advantage, which you can't say no. And in fact, this is the reason why you have to move from centralized to distributed. You can't do it in the centralized, you have to go for distributed system, then only will get this advantage. And this is one way reason to shift from centralized to distributed. This is the advantage what you will get in distributed, disadvantage in the decentralized. What is that? Could you figure out in my earlier discussion? ఇంకో reason why we have to go for distributed OS, distributed systems. హలో డిస్ట్రిబ్యూటర్ సిస్టమ్ గురించి కొంత కరెక్ట్గా చెప్పిన అమ్మాయి ఎవరు ఆవిడ లేడీ కొంతవరకు బాగానే చెప్పారు మీరు ఆన్సర్. ఎవరండి? I could not recollect her name. Hello? Yeah. The second reason is, suppose you have a data which you cannot put it in this, means amount of data is used which you cannot put in that. What you used to do earlier? You should throw away, purchase bigger one, because this data cannot be kept in this. You have to go for bigger system. Whereas if you have data which is more than the capacity of this particular system, still such data can be stored in distributed system. Suppose one system is full, then remaining data can be put in second system. Hence, when data is big to a system, then you can't handle it in the centralized system. You can handle in distributed system. Hence, data that is which is big to a system, is called big data. Data that is big to a system is called big data. Data that is big to a system is called big data. Since it is big to a system, no single system can hold it. Therefore, what you have to do? The data must be distributed. Hence, data that is big to a system must be distributed. It means big data must be distributed. You cannot handle big data without distribution. Big data is the one which must be distributed. Then only you can process, analyze, whatever you want to do, you can do afterwards. Hence, as long as you can hold data in one system, it is not big data. If you think that, sir, my data I can put in one system, I need not, it is not big to my system. Yeah, then it is not big data. You are storing at one place only. You can analyze, you can store it, you can process it in one system, then it is not big. If it is big to a system, then only you should distribute. If it is not big to a system, it is non-big data. If it is a big to a system, it is called big data and it must be distributed. If you say, I have high volume data, sir, but still I can put in one system. As long as you put in one system, the data may have volume, but it is not big to a system, no? Therefore, it is not big data. The data which requires distribution, why? It cannot keep here or for some reason. Hence, big data processing means it is by distributing it only. Means you should feel that your data is to be executed on a distributed system. Only such data is called big data. The reasons may be many. It may be volume, that's why you are going for a distribution. For which reason? Data is big to a system and hence you are going there. Why it became big? See, data which is big to a system is called big data, but why it has become big? Because of volumes are, okay, volume may be a reason why it has become big. I will bring all this velocity, variety afterwards. Velocity sometimes may force you to, that may be a reason why data becomes big. Hence, this may be the reasons why you are considering some data as big data. Okay. Hence, first of all, you have to understand that big data in your mind, you must understand this. If it is big data means immediately you should feel that, oh, this is the data which was to be distributed. You can't expect something non-distributed approaches to process them. Hence, your analytics, which is on big data, basically distributed approaches. Because your data, that is big data, is the data to be processed only in distributed system. Hence, your conventional algorithms which expect data in a single system won't work here. Therefore, big data which is to be distributed require distributed approaches. Therefore, it has to be studied separately as a course. When you want to analyze big data, your analysis using distributed approaches. You have not studied in ordinary machine learning, data mining, and any other course, analytics course. No. Your analysis, your performance, your SQL, you are storing data in structured data. You are putting some queries. By putting some queries, if you think that you have got some understanding, that understanding you are getting because you are storing entire data in one, and that is not distributed approach. The same structured data, when you cannot keep in one system, why? It is big, therefore you are distributing it. Once the structured data is distributed, then to analyze it, you require special algorithms. Those are all helping you to here. In structured data, two ways. Structured data non-distributed means storing in one system and then handling. Structured data distributed over some systems. Why you are distributed? You can't find a single system to hold such a data. Hence, you have to distribute. Hence, fundamentally, big data, it means in your mind you should have, oh, big data means it's a distributed data. It is to be distributed. Okay. Hence, when Dr. Ellen Swami started data coming from various sources, I thought that is in the right direction. Yeah, data comes from various sources, but if you are bringing everything to a centralized place, means in centralized we have a single system which can hold all this amount of data. When you are holding everything in one system, then it is not big data. You have to distribute it basically. Suppose they are generated at several places. That's a good statement. You started with that. But afterwards you thought that you are all bringing to centralized repository. No. If you keep them at the respective places where data is in a distributed manner. You keep them at the respective places and analyze them. Don't bring them to the centralized component. The moment you brought centralized and kept in one system means you have one system which can hold the data. Then it is no more a big data. Hence, for you, all of you should have the concept that big data immediately it is basically distributed data. Why you have distributed? Because I can't store in any system. Therefore, data which can't be stored in any one system, data is big to that system. Data big to a system is called big data. Suppose you alone cannot lift one big rock. One stool is there, one table or one almara. You alone can't lift it. Then it is big to you. When it is big to you, someone else have to help because that weight is to be distributed. No, you have to all of 4 people will lift it and you will put almara somewhere. Hence, whenever you want to handle something, is it big to you? Not big to you. If it is not big, you alone can do. If it is big, you require distribution of the work. I will give some work. Today you complete entering this data. Then you will say, sir, it is big to me. It means that entering data is big to you means you alone cannot do. Then I have to give, okay, I will give 4 assistants, but anyway, tomorrow morning you finish up. Okay, you people will distribute among yourselves. You will feed some data and your friends will fill, but entire your team will feed. Hence, anything if we say big to you, it is only by distributing. You are demanding distribution. Sir, I alone cannot do it. Hence, big data analytics means data which is distributed is called big data. Hence, you are going to analyze such a big data. You are analyzing such a distributed data. Then, now the question arises. When big data and distributed data both are same, Why new word big data is formulated? Why not they say distributed data? Why not they say distributed data? Is that these two are equal? Hence, big data must be distributed, then only you can handle it. If you want to store big data, you can't store in one system, you must distribute it. Storing, you are distributing. Processing, you are distributing. Distributed processing only. Hence, every manner, you have to bring distributed approaches. Conventional approaches won't work. Then, your distributed systems, your distributed databases, distributed OS, these are all helping you to handle the data by distributing them, data distribution, program distribution. This we have been doing. Then again, you can put the same question, sir. We have been last nearly almost 80 onwards, nearly 40 years, distributed systems are there. Hence, people know how to distribute the data, how to distribute, develop distributed OS. Then is distributed system a new course? Why now they suddenly brought a big data course? This is a question. This question, now we have understood, okay, big data to some extent, now we got some idea. Now again I have created a dilemma in you. When both are same, already we have distributed system courses. That's enough for you to process big data. Then why you need separate course big data analytics? What you are going to do in this new course? In what way this new course big data technologies is different from the distributed system? What is their setup and what is the setup here? In what way both are different? In both the places, what is commonality? In both the places, commonality is the data will be distributed and processed. In distributed system also data will be processed in a distributed manner. In big data also we have to distribute, because it is big data, you can't hold it in one system, it should be distributed. If both are using distributed approaches, in both the places data being distributed, what is the difference between these two? That we have to highlight. Okay, let us, you think on this. We meet after lunch and then we continue. Okay, be serious, and some of you should participate in this interaction in the afternoon. Okay, then only I will understand whether you are understanding it or not. Okay, we take break now and come after 1 hour. Okay, fine. Dilip Kumar Reddy?
Sir, good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon.
Okay, after 1 hour we will come. Now we are giving break.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
మీ వాళ్ళని కాస్త మాట్లాడమని చెప్పండి.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Definitely, sir. I will already send the messages in WhatsApp group also, sir.
Right.
Please interact with resource person. Okay, thank you. I sincerely request all the participants please join in after 1 hour, 2:30.